Hi everyone, welcome back to Young and Wifed Up. This is Marcella.
And I'm Gabby.
And thanks for joining us this week for another episode.
Every month when we do our episodes, there's a lot that goes into it besides just us coming and chatting. And that includes all of the sound, all of the prep work, making outlines, thinking of topics, recording for several hours one night, and having all of the equipment necessary, including my husband having to edit all of our episodes himself. We don't outsource any of our content. We do everything in-house. And so if you'd like to support us so that we can keep doing this podcast, a great way to do that is by joining on Patreon. There are different ways that you can support us on Patreon, and each level that you support us, there's different perks. But this is a call out to you guys. If you love the podcast and you have a couple bucks that you're willing to support us with, then that can keep this podcast going, because we love making content for you guys. We love chatting with you guys. We love the relationships that we've built off of this. And in order for us to keep going, we need some financial support. And so if you guys are able to do that, we would love to see you guys on our Patreon account. And thank you to our lovely patrons that have been loyal and supporting us the past year that we have had Patreon. We appreciate you guys so much, and we couldn't do this without you. So thank you guys so much.
Another way to support us if you are not able to be a patron at this time is to rate and review anywhere that you listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you are able to leave a review and a rating. Give us an honest 5-star rating and help us boost our numbers and to reach more listeners, to continue to grow our community, and to share our stories and lives with other like-minded women. This is a really great way to do that and boost the podcast. If you aren't able to do any of the other ways to support us, this is just like the easiest way to do it for sure. And also by sharing with your friends and family, obviously, your favorite episodes, things that have really spoken to you or things you've really related to or really liked and enjoyed, sharing those and, like I said, rating and reviewing. So for our subject today, we are going to be talking about date night ideas at home. And honestly, the list could be endless, but we decided to cap it off at 6 to keep it into our mini-sode time restraints. But we'll see if we can still keep this into a mini-sode, because we kind of have a lot here. So why don't you start with the first one, which I really love this, because this is
something you guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so one of the biggest reasons we wanted to do this episode is because we've done an episode on date nights in the past, but most of the ideas that we gave were things that you can do outside the house, which are still important and really fun. But we wanted to also consider now people that don't necessarily have the money to go and do extravagant dates. And also if you have little children at home and you're uncomfortable with, having a caregiver for, those nights, or if you're on a really tight budget, those sort of situations, we have found ourselves in these situations ourselves. And so you have to get kind of creative to date your spouse. It's so easy for us to just binge watch TV, which, don't get me wrong, Ryan and I still partake in, our TV binges together, and we have so much fun doing that. But thinking of creative out of the box ideas, including ideas that don't include modern technology or screen time, can be kind of hard to do. So we have these 6 ideas for you. The first one is reading a book out loud to each other. So you can either take turns reading chapters or sections, or designate one person to read out loud if the other person prefers to listen. So in Ryan and I's case, sometimes like him and I, when we're reading a book aloud to each other, we'll take turns, but sometimes I'm just really not in the mood to be reading out loud. And so he'll take He'll take the full burden of reading out loud, and he's so sweet. So I appreciate that. I also recommend when you're choosing a book to read out loud to each other for it to either be a fun and fast-paced fiction that'll really keep you engaged and excited, or pick a book of a subject matter that you're both wanting to study together. So, say, for example, you really want to study a portion of scripture or a portion of theology that you really want to get into, or if you guys are looking into different health and wellness ideas, going through those books together can be great for conversations and for learning together. You can make it fun by having a glass of wine with your read aloud or putting together an easy and quick dessert. You could also, if neither of you guys like to read out loud, you can pick an audiobook that you can listen to together, and you can do something with your hands that is quiet and doesn't require a ton of brain activity, like doing a puzzle, which I know sometimes puzzles are so intense that you like focus all of your attention on, because we've done some where we're like, this is intense. We need to turn off the audiobook. But if you do that, I recommend like a easier puzzle, maybe
Yeah.
like 500 or less pieces, so that you can still engage with the book that you're listening to, but still have something fun to do with your hands. So that is my first idea, and I know Marcella, you and Jed also do this date night as well.
Yeah, sometimes it's not even like considered a date night thing. It's just like, oh, I guess we're gonna read aloud to each other too.
Yeah.
But it's good if you want to make it more of like a formal date night thing, like adding those extra
Yeah.
bits, like doing the puzzle situation or like having a nice like dessert or a drink or something while you're doing it. That's like that makes it a little bit more
More
interesting
special.
out of
Mhm.
the ordinary. Okay, so my first one is getting some pots, soil, and seeds or already grown like small transplants and seedlings and starting an herb garden for your kitchen. So practically, you guys can kind of research it. When I say research, it will take you like 2 minutes to find out what garden zone you live in. And then from there, you can decide which herbs would grow best in your zone, where you could keep them. Like, do they need full sun or do they need full shade? And would you actually use them on a semi-regular basis? Obviously, don't get a bunch of plants that you're not even gonna like utilize.
Yeah.
Like we never make
Just eye
dishes.
candy.
Yeah, like we're never gonna make dishes that have like rosemary in it because we just don't tend to. Just don't get rosemary then. Um, buy your supplies beforehand, and you don't need a lot of stuff. So don't go into full blown, we're doing a whole, gardening, like intense gardening session. Like just do something small and then you can spend your evening putting your plants together. Like put on some music outside. Like if the kids are going down somewhat earlier in the evening, maybe plan for that so you have a little bit of light left in the day. The sun's going down, have some soft music going or something, enjoyable, and then yeah, do your evening with your putting your plants together in their pots and filling them with the soil and then doing the seeds and stuff and getting all of the plants where they need to go. So that might be a fun one to
I
do.
like that idea. Ryan and I actually, it was like a double date night situation. We've done that with friends
Oh
before.
yeah.
Like they had it all ready for us when we went to stay with them for a weekend, and they were like, this is the
Mhm.
activity we're doing tonight. And it was so fun. And we
Yeah.
just like had music on and we were just like catching up while we were doing it. And it was just such a fun little activity. I would have never thought to do that. So I think it's a great date night idea.
Yeah.
Okay, my next one is doing a paint by numbers and listening to music together. Craft stores like Michael's or online retailers like Amazon have really affordable and fun paint by number options. We've done one ourselves, and you can get your own paintings. But you can get your own paintings to work on like together, or you could do it separately. So if you want to do
Mhm.
one and he wants to do his own, then you can do your own thing, or you can get one that like a bigger one that you'd like to work on together. That's what Ryan and I ended up doing. We did a sunflower when we did it, and it was so fun. And in our guest room is where it's displayed actually, and it's so cute. And I made like the whole guest room kind of like sunflower yellow themed, from that painting being my inspo. And a way that you can make this like screenless or more creative is by getting out your old CD or vinyl player and listening to your old CDs and records together. You can, or if you don't have any, you can collect records and CDs at thrift stores for this very purpose. We've done that together where we broke out the record player and it was also like a CD and cassette combo. And Ryan and I were taking turns putting CDs in that we had from like the good old days. And it was just it was so fun to like reminisce and show each other music from our like teen years, you know?
Yeah.
And that was really fun to do. And doing that while we're doing our paint by numbers really made it less stressful because sometimes paint by numbers can get really intense.
Yeah.
And
Again,
it just
find
like
an easier-ish
easy.
one.
Do level 1 unless you're like a professional artist and you're like, oh, Gabby, I don't even need paint by numbers. I'm literally Bob Ross's daughter. Then, you know, do your own thing, which is another date night idea, doing a Bob Ross video together.
That would be really fun, yeah.
Yeah, we should do that. But yeah, so making it interesting by, you know, having that specific time for listening to old music is really fun.
Okay, my next one is, where am I? Here we go.
Number 4.
Okay, okay, I know we're trying to do some of the screen-free stuff. This is not a screen-free option.
Cheater!
I know. But this isn't like a binge. I guess you could binge like a docuseries, but it's not like it's somewhat productive, like you're kind of learning about something while you're watching, I guess. But watching a documentary or starting a docuseries on a topic you both find interesting, so like conspiracy theories, true crime, Jed and I are really into cult stuff. I know you are too.
Oh yeah. Every cult
just-
docuseries that comes out, sign Ryan and I up.
History or science documentaries, just something interesting instead of just being like, oh, we're gonna just like turn on the same show that we always do and eat takeout. Like, do something different that would be really interesting. You guys can kind of like talk about and discuss afterwards, or it's like something, I don't know. Sometimes like when I'm watching, like if I watch a documentary with Jed, it's almost like only him and I know about these certain things that we saw in this documentary. And so it's like you have this like special secret information about this random topic between the two of you. I don't know, it's weird, but
yeah, that's how Ryan and I felt about Tiger King until we realized it was a mass phenomenon.
Very mainstream.
Oh man, don't watch that.
Yeah, no, please don't.
Oh man, 2020 was a wild year.
Yeah. Moving on to the next one.
Okay, number 5, a good old-fashioned board game night, and you can do mocktails or cocktails, whatever your fancy is. So get out the board games or collect some from the thrift store that are 2 people board games. So some of our favorites include Scrabble, which I always win. I always win Scrabble. Zombie Dice is another really fun one. I'll link the ones that aren't like the common ones in Patreon. And Rummy Cube is another really fun one that we enjoy, and Splendor. So all of these kind of range in level or length or difficulty. And all of these ones are 2-player games, which is so fun. And it can just be like your guys' little thing. You guys can collect 2-player games just for your little date nights. And I just want to give you my quick little hack for making a cocktail with what you have on hand, so that you don't feel like you have to have like a full-on bar situation in order to make a cocktail for you and your husband. All you really need for a really good cocktail are 3 things. The first thing is a hard liquor. I usually go for vodka or tequila. When we were on a mega budget, we've gotten like small ones from the gas station.
Wow.
You know, and like Costco has really good deals for like a really big bottle, and that can last you like forever. But if you're just doing like a quick little, you know, date night and you don't want to buy a big old bottle of something, just go to the gas station or the liquor store and get like those little tiny bottles, and you can make it work. The second thing you need is a bubbly. Any type of bubbly, ginger beer, Sprite, sparkling water, that sort of thing. Anything that is bubbly and kind of more on a like not blander side, but as neutral, like a neutral
flavor. Yeah,
neutral flavor. You can do so much with that. And I always have ginger beers in the fridge, so that's usually what I end up using for my cocktails. And then the third thing is some sort of citrus or berry. And you can do so much with just those three things. You probably have like limes in your house or oranges in your house already, or you have some like frozen blueberries in your fridge.
Mhm.
And then most people have like sparkling water in their fridge or ginger beer or a Sprite or, something like that. And then if you don't want to have the alcohol in your drink, you can just make it a mocktail by just combining the second and third ingredients that I talked about. And you can dress up your mocktail or cocktail in like a really cute glass that you can save like for your special date nights. You can find some like vintage ones, or you can go to the thrift or the antique store and you can find some that are just for your date nights, and you can break those out when you're having your board game nights. And that's kind of how you can make a board game night a little more elevated and a little more fun.
Okay, last one is asking your husband to teach you about something he's interested in and making a date night out of it. So I was like trying to think of the range of what men's interests might be. And I just came up with the shortest list ever. Um, and obviously this, cater this to your own husband and what his
Yeah. What his
his
fancy is.
what his things are, yeah. So like if it's like a woodworking project you guys can kind of work on together. Maybe it's, something you've been wanting in the house and he has the skills and knowledge to do it, and having you guys working on that together, doing a workout together if he's into working out, and you guys don't do that usually, playing a video game together, or even like having him teach you like the basics of an instrument that he knows how to play. I know sometimes like when we think of situations like this, like sometimes we're like, this would be so stressful. Like you would probably end the night in a fight. But this is a really good opportunity for us as wives to show interest in
Yes.
things that he is interested in, and being willing to, set our pride aside instead of being like, well, I know about this too, and I know better, and oh, well, he's doing it wrong and all stuff. And like letting him teach you about something that he's interested in. Yeah, and making it fun and that sort of thing, making a date night out of it. And honestly, like throwing food at every situation or drinks at every situation kind of always makes it better. Some kind of dessert or snack. Like you don't have to go full on like we're ordering takeout sushi and it's going to be like $75. But just something like small, like get each other's favorite snacks and then do your activity together, and then that
Yeah.
can be your
Sometimes even
date
like
at
Ryan just
home.
running to the gas station to get a bag of Doritos is like, that is everything.
Yeah.
Like, you won't catch me getting those at the store, but late night, Crunchy Gabby leaves my body. She ejects from my body late at night when I'm having munchies.
Yeah, honestly. Excuse me.
So relatable. Anyway, I love it. I'm going to now take this list and try to do all of these things with Ryan, because most of the things that I said, like we've done at some level, but
Yeah.
I really want to get back to having intentional date nights instead of like, oh, like we're hanging out together, because
I
there
know,
is
and it's
something
so
different.
easy to fall into that.
And
Yeah.
like if you already find yourselves hanging out after the kids go to bed, or hanging out like on the weekend, and you're just like being together, why not make it extra special by doing
Yeah.
just something a little bit extra just for that day? And I think it
Mhm.
cultivates like a really strong relationship and friendship with your spouse. And
Mhm.
everybody always says like date your spouse, and everybody's like, yes, amen, of course, we all agree. But we forget the implications that come with that, is that like we should intentionally put that together. And you know what? This might be like controversial, but I primarily am the one that plan our dates, and that is okay. And that does not mean that Ryan like doesn't love me or that he's not romantic or whatever, because there are dates that he plans or special things that he plans. But I love making like special plans for us, and like calling and making reservations, or like making a
Mhm.
really special meal. And there isn't this weird like pressure on men that they have to think of and do everything for us in order for it to be romantic. And it's like, why can't it just be like a group effort, or even like the wife putting on a date for her husband. Like I don't
Yeah.
think that that's like wrong or like, you know, makes you less feminine if you're initiating a date night. Like I think it's great when men do, but it's like we shouldn't expect that every single time. Like we should be proactive too and be like, hey, like we should do a date night and
The
this is
plan.
what I think
Yeah.
we should do. And like, hey, can you run to the store to grab a couple things for me so that they can still be
Mhm.
involved in the planning process, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, and especially like you were saying, if you are finding yourself like, "Whoa, I always hang out with my husband like after the kids go down or like in the evening when we're both off of work or on the
Yeah.
weekends and that's, on Saturdays and that sort of thing." Um like adding in these simple things or doing something different than what you normally do, and it doesn't have to be some extravagant like we're gonna do a whole day's worth of activities and try to fit it in all into 2 hours after the kids go down to bed. But just something that's kind of out of the routine can make it really special. So
totally agree. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Let us know if you guys have any fun date night at home ideas to give us some inspo, and let us know if you did any of the date nights that we suggested.
yes.
All right, we'll talk to you guys next week as we talk about our spring favorites. So we hope we can see you then. Talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.